So now we're going to do a couple of modeling edits to these two buildings on the either side, the part that joins up the top of the seating. We're going to be looking at the front elevation to do these changes. And so we can select that elevation, and we can select this building here, and perhaps let's leave in one of these quarters just so that we can have those main objects. Let's isolate that. And looking at the building, let's look in the front view. And just like we did with the seating when we shaved off that part, we're going to do the same thing here. So we're going to add another editable poly, just in case we make a mistake with our cutting, and we're going to use Quick Slice. So holding the quick slice as accurately as you can, you make that slice going across. And then you take your polys that you've wanted to slice off, and you basically delete them out. Same thing here, we want to slice off this part of the building. Let's just slice it here, since we won't really see the part we're cutting off. We're going to be hidden by this main slab here, but we just don't want it to protrude above. Remember, this is the slab, that's the thickness of it, and this is the balustrade above the ground level. So once we have that, what we want to do is we want to create this section here, which is going to be almost a support, a concrete support for the stadium seating, which is slightly recessed in, just to create a big shadow gap here. So to do that, we can, in the elevation view, we can model that form. I'm just creating a spline now. We can actually just do that. That should be good enough. We're going to extrude it then sideways. And here I want to make sure that it doesn't go above my ground line, which is this blue line here. So let's just bring that down. And this can be slightly bigger than what your model is, because you won't see the top or bottom of it. You're just going to see the side. The main part that you do want to clear correctly is that you have the recess correctly on the side. So we're going to look at it in perspective. You see it slightly on the inside of the building, and let's just extrude that by a couple of meters, and I think immediately we can either convert it or not. It doesn't really matter. And I still had my Y value copied from the previous video where we were aligning the edges of that roof. So I've just copied, it's still on my clipboard, and that has aligned my shape to be exactly in the middle, which is really helpful. And in plan view, I can now zoom out a bit, and I can increase this amount to be almost at the end of my building, so that it just sits there. Back in perspective, let's have a look at what we've created. Let's cap it. And basically that is the effect. It's just a object that is sitting slightly inside. Now the top here of the building, we're going to close that off too. So let's select the border, cap, and then selecting these vertices here, and this one that's hiding behind. Let's connect that just to give us an edge there. Right, so this form here is going to be copied across as well. So let's copy that. Now let's copy to the other side, it's instanced. And that is still using that working pivot that we set up earlier. So you'll see here that we're actually blocking some of this entrance using that object, so we need to make a small edit to it. So let's go and make an edit poly, and in this view let's just connect, and we'll slide that in top view slightly closer. And then we'll do the same thing on the side where we'll select all the edges, select connect, and let's just see if this is high enough to not be seen. It should be fine. And once that is in place, we can actually delete this part. And we've actually gone and deleted out. So we can just see a bit of that hole. If we see this face down here, it doesn't really matter. We're not gonna, unless we do a view where we're actually looking inside there, we just want to get the idea that there is this object underneath that's recessed. That's the main point of this exercise. Great, so now we've chamfered back the building, and we have created a little bit more detail where we have these edges all neatened up a little bit. And in the next video, we'll finally get onto the main shell that is going to be supporting all of the seating and the entire stadium. And that should be quite an exciting section of this tutorial, I hope. There we go.